Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is episode 1. Life chats with Joey. That's what I've come up with so far. That is what I have come up with so far. Open to the names you would like to give me, but this specific episode, this week's podcast, is sponsored by Our Legal, a boutique law firm specializing in commercial law and pioneering a new way of legal practice. You can find Our Legal on social media, LinkedIn and Instagram, or at www.ourlegal.com.au. Thank you so much, guys. How are we all? Let's log in. Let's see who is on. How are we doing? How was our week? It's COVID. Still COVID. We have a very special guest today coming in with a pretense of coming off the back of a current affair, which is going to be sensational conversation. We hope you tune in for that. Feel free to give whatever questions you want to ask him. Just shoot him in the comments. You know, I'm really privileged to have this first episode by myself on the back of the JJ brothers. So James, I hope you're watching today, or you get a chance to watch this, brother. Thank you so much for that pass. But it's moving forward. It's empowering the community is something I'm really passionate about. Something that people around me know, people that know me truly, and those who have the opportunity that I get the opportunity to discuss certain things with. But today we have a very special guest, someone that I haven't seen in a very long time, and his name is Jason Wehbe. I actually saw him last week, so we might admit him into the conversation, and we'll just kick it off from there. We'll see where we're going to go from there. And stick around after Jace is finished. Also, understand that I'm around as well for some comments. I know Jason has had a massive rap, much more than me. Every time someone comes up to me in life, they're always like, "How's your brother?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, good, man. I'm good too. Thanks." So, but kudos to him. His stamina, his courage, and his aura is just amazing, guys. So please welcome him. I'll admit him now, and feel free to ask him any questions. Welcoming in, standing in at 6'2", all the way from Greystanes or Bella Vista, Jason Wehbe.
Let's go. I feel like I just entered into a boxing ring. I'm ready.
You did, brother. You did. Hey, you have been boxing lately, or we shouldn't tell people that?
Nah. I don't know what you're talking about,
man. How are you, bro?
I'm very well, thank you, man. How are you? How's Miller? How's Nelly?
They're all good, man. Everyone's well. Thanks for last minute booking, man. I wasn't going to do any guests this week because, as you know, we're running a JJ Brothers podcast, and James had some personal stuff that he had to take care of. So it was going to be like a week off, but I said, you know what? I'm take the opportunity to interview my brother because, wow, bro, I'm super proud. I was amazed at your poise online on watching you on TV, and it was just amazing, bro. Can you tell us, like, what happened? How did this all happen?
First of all, thank you, man. It's not very often that you get some praise from your brother. So I think this is definitely a first. So just a quick rundown of what happened. I got a phone call in the morning. Obviously, our produce got stolen. Joshua called me, told me that, just to check the cameras. I checked the cameras, and I sat there for about an hour. I had to find like the exact moment because I'm just sitting there watching the screen and I couldn't see nothing for ages. And then I just see this guy come through. We'll show you guys the footage later. And you just see him take off with all the stuff that usually gets dropped off. And then it was a bit of a nuisance more than anything. It was annoying. It was kind of like,
man.
But look, we dealt with it. People are sharing it around. I'm sure that these guys are going to be found pretty quickly with the amount of support that we've been getting. So, we just aim to just stop stuff like this happening, because it's just more than anything, it's just it's putting fear in everyone's mind. Like, are these people still out there, and like, what if they break into people's homes and stuff like that? So we're trying to get on top of it. I'm sure that we'll get a result pretty soon.
Yeah, man, and I just love the fact that you've targeted this in a way that you involve the community rather than the police. Like, we're trained to go to the police. Fair enough, they do their role, they handle their own, they do the right thing in what they're supposed to do. But you're taking it into your own hands. and that's that's something that not many business owners do.
Yeah, look, I think my first reaction was to obviously call the police. And, you know, I got a lot of people in the beginning say, you know, call the police, this, that. And then I just really put it into reality. I put it
Yeah.
into perspective as well and said, what's going to happen if I call the police? I went through all the footage myself. I tried to get the number plate of the car. I tried to get some images of the.
So you played detective. You tried to play detective yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I pretty much did everything that they would. I'd sort of retrace their steps, you know, talk to the neighbors, this and that. And I just said, look, with that much stuff that's happening at the moment, you know, due to COVID and this and that, I'm sure the police got other things to worry about. And I was like, I didn't want to be a nuisance more than anything, you know. It was just going to be something that, you know, another thing added to sort of their agenda. And I sort of just said, look, if I can make the community aware of this, I think we're going to get a much faster result anyway. Sort of telling everyone about it more so than calling the police. Like nothing, look, nothing, no one was harmed. There was no sort of danger to anyone. So it was, I would have said that the police would have put it as a really mild case, you know. So I said the easiest thing to do was just tell the local community what had happened. And dude, we got such an amazing response.
You do, man. Yeah, man. Even on a current affair, like the 3 people that were interviewed that are normal customers, you know, they you could just tell that they were a bit stunned as well, but they really love the cafe and what you guys do.
I think no one would expect it. That's why, because we're such a vibrant cafe. We're so friendly.
Yeah.
Like all the staff are great. You know, you can have personal conversations with every single one of our staff members. And I think that's what separates us a lot in sort of the small business industry. So when people found out that it happened to us, I think it hit home to them as well. Like it was kind of like, they felt like they'd been broken into at the same time. So, yeah, like it was a really weird thing to happen, but I'm so glad in a way that it did, because it sort of made me aware how strong our sort of clientele and our network within that cafe is.
Yeah, it was kind of like a test. It's kind of like a test. It was kind of like a test for your business to see how much it affected the entire community, and it did, man. Like when I read that, not only you're my brother, you know, but I love the atmosphere. I love the team there. When you go in there, you do feel a warmly welcome, and you've tried very hard. You guys have tried very, very hard working on charisma, working on care and authenticity, right? Like I know you personally. You know, I know that you go around and, you know, you make sure that, you know, your cafe is doing as good as possible compared to other cafes, you know, because you like to, you're a perfectionist, I guess. You really like making sure that, you know, you are performing at your best. And this sort of came from your footy days, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, footy taught me a lot. You know, I played footy since I was 3 years old.
So for those of you who don't know, Jace played footy all his life. You know, I was the older brother, 4 years older, and you know, I'm not going to make it about me here, but
I know it's going straight away.
Picture this, right? You're a 12-year-old young man, and you have an 8-year-old brother who smashes you at everything: basketball, football, you know, soccer, everything you ever did together.
Look, I was very fortunate. I got to see what you were doing, and all I was doing was trying to replicate it, man. So it was much easier. I just watched all the mistakes that you were making and tried to make them. That's so,
man, but it was an absolute pleasure, man. Whenever, you know, Nelly and I have a chat often, and we say, look, why don't you guys talk as much as we're doing? This is probably the longest chat we're going to have in a long time.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. Look. But,
it's because I reckon we bonded over sports and we bonded over physical things. You know, that's what I told Nelly. I was like, brothers don't, you know, necessarily talk all the time. It's good to chat, and lately we've divulged in some amazing chats about life and about business and about awareness, and you know, and I've really found a lot of special things about you that I never knew. In regards to intellect, and I always knew you were smart. Not saying you're dumb. You're not dumb. You're far from that. You wouldn't own a successful cafe if you were dumb. But you know, essentially, like we bonded over sports. And how many of you out there bonded over sports? You know, as a sibling or
I think every household, man. I think every household, you sort of, because you guys grow up together. You know, in every family. You know, no matter how many brothers and sisters there are.
Yeah,
I think you sort of just get used to them being around. So like. It's sort of like, oh, you know that they're there, you know that they're all in the other room.
So take it for granted? So you kind of take it for granted?
I think unknowingly you sort of do take it for granted, because how much of a shock is it, as you know, when you get married and you move out and people are like, all the things, all the memories that you had with your brothers.
It's kind of, I won't lie, it's kind of great. You know, you get to do your own thing. You get to walk around the house naked. You get to do things that, you know, you were planning to. You get to do things that you were looking forward to doing, but, you know, there's definitely that element of, you know, missing your siblings and missing, you know, the things that you normally do together.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 100%.
but you know, man, look, there's a lot of people that I know personally that look up to you in business, and I know that there are a lot of people wanting to start businesses. Probably not the best time to start a small business, is it? Or what's your advice at the moment in COVID with either starting a business or any small business currently? Like, just not specific question, just kind of like talking general.
This is a tough one. I like to analyze every business individually because the term, you know, business could mean anything. You know?
Yeah.
Such a wide range of businesses that you can start. But
Hey, Mum. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Brendan.
is that our watches?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, like I was saying before, the term business could mean anything. So is it, to answer that question holistically, is it the best time to start a business? No. But in saying that, I'm sure there is tons of businesses at the moment where this is the best time to start.
Thriving.
So
Yeah,
like I said, I sort of like to put my business hat on and dissect every business individually. You know what I mean? Like we do have the core fundamentals that every business needs, but you know, there's some businesses that are in demand at the moment. I know a few of my friends that have businesses at the moment, they're thriving. You know what I mean? So
what industries are they at the moment?
Off the top of my head, a friend of mine's golf business. He's got a golf driving range. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, hell yeah! How many people are practicing their golf?
I for one.
Yeah,
Doing
I've seen some. I've seen some of your social media.
Yeah. Look,
I do stalk you.
You know,
I do stalk my brother. Yes, I do stalk my brother.
I'm sort of enjoying the sport at the moment.
Ricky Rad just said, I agree. Ricky Rad's our sponsor, my sponsor at the moment.
Yeah, Big Rick.
Big Rick, he just said it's a great time. He said he agrees. It's a great time to start a business. Huge opportunity right now. What a positive, optimistic mind, right?
Yeah,
and like you said,
definitely, man.
So take us through. Like, what do you think has helped you as a footballer? Because you were a very successful footballer. What do you think has helped you from football apply to business now?
Look, man, it's funny that you brought that up because
for those of you listening into the podcast, Jace is a real, like, he's so witty and quick. He's just thrown on a virtual background of him playing for Lebanon in the World Cup in 2017 with Alex Twal and himself in the picture. Andrew Kazi, is it?
Big Jace. A few big deep breaths.
Yeah,
to this set of six. I'm sure
that's against Australia, right? I see an Australian jumper.
That was against Australia.
Wow. See what?
To grab one of the jerseys after the game.
Hey, what a beautiful picture. That's you with your wristband. What's written on your wristband? Like on your, I know a lot of players write things on their wrist. What's that written there on your wrist?
You probably
in that game.
Look at those glutes.
So I think it was family. I think it was family.
Yeah, it was definitely it was family and faith. It was just something that I had going from, you know, when I was a youngin.
Yeah. And Siosi Kapelele Tuetupo said, "What a do, baby? What a try, man!
What a try, man!" That was against England, but whatever. We can pretend it was against Aussie.
Ricky said, "Someone's offside."
Yeah, definitely me. Would have been me.
So there's a lot of photos.
That's
awesome, man.
You run in that photo.
What an experience, man! Honestly, like watching my brother play was in a World Cup against these elite athletes was something I've never experienced before. But for you personally, being on the field playing with people you looked up to for many, many years, like, and you guys, and you come, I don't know if many people know this, but you took quite a long time off rugby league before you got asked to play, right?
I did, man. I did. I spent 2 years out of the game.
Wow.
After I spent a year in Japan. I spent a year in Japan. I played some rugby union over there. I loved every minute of that.
For the Panasonic Wild Knights?
Yeah. Played for the Wild Knights. What a team.
Yeah.
Came back to Sydney and then just started focusing on the business pretty much straight away. I had an opportunity to sort of try and pursue an NRL career.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say I was very confident that would have worked out. So I sort of had two avenues to take. You know,
It was a very emotionally tough decision, right? At that point in your life.
A quick story. I don't even know if I've told you this story before. When I got back from Japan, I was presented with two opportunities really. One being the cafe that I'm in at the moment, And the other being, I was offered a top 25 contract at the Bulldogs. I think it was
Oh,
back
wow.
in 2016. Yeah,
Wow.
it would have been sort of mid 2016, end of 2016. Sorry, so going into the 2017 season,
Wow.
um, I was offered like a sort of train trial with them, and
Oh, yeah.
then literally in the same week, I got offered the lease for the shop, and I just sat there. I sat there for a few
Wow.
days. I really didn't know what to do, and then I sort of I prayed on it, and I said to myself, I think I was a bit realistic at the time. I was
Yeah.
22,
Yeah.
23, and I just, I was hungry to play football, but I
Yeah.
think I knew that my longevity in business was going to be
Mm.
a lot sort of longer, for lack of a better word, than my rugby league career would have done. And
Yeah.
I sort of wanted to just establish that mentality as young as I could to get out into the business world, and sort of use my football network as best as
Yeah.
possible as well. And that's why I'm sort of venturing into sports management. Like that's my next sort of venture. And
Yeah.
look, I'm very, very confident and very excited to jump into that. I've sort of been building that business for the last year and a half, and that will kick off in the next 12 months. So
We hope so, man. Because you
yeah,
would make a phenomenal. Those of you who don't know Jace, he's very real. He'll tell you exactly how it is. He's very understanding. He's very smart. He's very aware of things. Like if he's the type of guy that when you're sitting in a room of people, he's the type of guy that throws shit at you and you won't even know it was him, right? Just as a joke, and then you look around and you won't know who's doing it for like 15 minutes, right? Because you're so quick. You're very quick. He's one of those guys, and those of you really close to him, like your friends like Tui Tupo would back this up, and Adam, my brother, Adam's on. G'day, Adam. G'day, David El Azi, Hanadi, Raj Guram. How you going? Those of you who really know him, like he's an exceptional, not only business owner, but a friend. He really gets deep and tries to connect. You try to connect with people on a deeper level, right? You don't just go, hey, you going, man? Good. What's happening? Good. I need you to do this. You kind of like involve yourself in someone's affairs if you have to, or you feel like you have to help them.
absolutely. Look, I apply this same principle to business every day, and I think it's the reason why the cafe is thriving. Not only during COVID, but sorry, not only before COVID, but during as well. And I think
Yeah.
it's because we get very personal with all of our customers.
Yeah.
I like to get behind the surface of every individual. Like everyone sort of has a front, especially with
Mm.
strangers.
Mm.
You know for yourself when you meet new people.
What do you mean front? What do you mean front?
I think just the way that they portray themselves to the world is
Okay.
very it's a misconception, because I can
Yeah.
guarantee you almost everyone on this planet has met someone, judged them
Yeah.
within a couple minutes of talking to them, like,
Yeah, man. On
oh,
that note,
hey, whatever it was, it's like
100%. I put a post up today about that. It was sensational.
judging, yeah, just judging and not knowing
Yeah,
what lies beneath, just sort of
yeah, man.
that
Absolutely.
everyone portrays.
Yeah, man. And the Japanese have it well. You probably may or may not have known this when you were over there, but the Japanese, they say everyone has three faces, right?
Mm,
The first face that, they show to everybody. So the Japanese say, for those of you who didn't catch on, the Japanese have this saying that everyone has three faces. The
yeah,
first face is that the one they show the entire community. The second
yeah,
face is that they show to their immediate circle and their family and friends. And the third face is where they show no one. You show
yeah,
no one this. And the goal for this essentially is to have that face you never show anyone the same all the way through to the community, all the way down behind closed doors, right? To bring out authenticity, your authentic self. And it's hard work, no doubt. But that's the aim, that's the goal, to be real behind the scenes
mm,
as you are on here. Like
yeah,
as you are here is
yeah.
how you are behind closed doors.
Isn't that a perfect world, but isn't that a perfect world where you can literally wake up in the morning and be
Yeah.
exactly who you want to be and be accepted and loved for it? Like, I
Yeah,
think
man.
that's been my mentality since as far back as I can remember. It's like
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be myself in every single scenario that I get thrown into. What have we
Yeah,
got?
man. Siosu said four faces. Docker forgot the Snapchat filter face.
Dude, Joshy loves the Snapchat. This bloke.
G'day, John. G'day, Justine. G'day, Lachlan. Those of you feel free to show any comments, guys. If you have any questions any questions to ask this young man about his stint on current affair or in business in general, please feel free to.
Careful. I'm charging this guy by the minute, guys. So.
Yeah, he's charging me by the comments, so please keep him. Nah, I'm joking. I've got, he's more than happy to do that. But man, tell us more about the current affair. Like when you were going back, when you were thinking about, when they approached you, what did they say to you?
Basically, I got a phone call in the morning about 6:30,
Yeah.
They called the shop.
Yeah.
And Joshy was there. Joshy was there on the machine, and then he called me straight away.
Yeah.
Um, he said the same thing he says every day. He goes, "Hey, yeah, you awake?" It was 6:30.
So for those of you who don't know what khayya means brother in Arabic.
Yeah, so he goes, "Hey, are you awake?" It's 6:30. I
Yeah.
go, "Yes, Josh." I've been up for an hour and a half. I'm up every day.
You're a business owner, of course you're awake.
Yeah. Never sleeps. So he goes, "Are you awake?" I go, "Yeah, bro. What's up?" He goes, "Can you check the cameras?" Blah blah blah. So anyway, that happened. Then he goes, "We got a phone call from." Oh, sorry, that was the day before. Then the next day, we put that Facebook post out, and everyone was just loving the way that I responded. I think to the whole situation. So, man, I think we got over 230 shares, and the reach was incredible. We reached about 40,000 people within like 24 hours.
Yeah, man.
If I put up an Instagram post or a Facebook post, you'd be lucky to get,
Bro, it seems you've done
3,000.
Bro, it seems you've done so well since that publicity because you're in the Bahamas at the moment. And
oh man, I just jumped on my prop. Yeah,
your virtual. How good is Zoom? How good is Zoom having a virtual
oh
background?
man, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out all this tech stuff. But yeah,
Oh,
look,
man.
they contacted me and they said, "Look, would you be happy to share the story?" And I think you know me more than anyone. I'm a bit of an introvert. Well, I'd say I'm very well an introvert. I'm very private with a lot of the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
My first natural reaction was like, look, sorry, I'm not interested. But then I thought of it from a business perspective, and I said, you know what? Not only is it going to be good exposure, obviously for the cafe, it's going to send a good message to the community, and sort of let them know that hey, people do the wrong thing every now and then, but you don't have to jump straight on board and criticize. Like my approach to the whole situation was, look, guys, I understand it's tough times, blah, blah, blah. I can see why you might want to steal some things, but please, before this gets out of hand, give us our stuff back if it hasn't already been eaten or drank, whatever it is. And if it has, look, you know me, bro. I'm a very forgiving person. I like to forgive people.
Absolutely.
Like not for theirs.
Absolutely.
I don't want that on my conscience. So I think I just applied that. And at the same time, I sort of wanted to set an example. We got some young staff as well at work. And, it's very easy to make decisions in comfortable situations because the mood's good, the energy's good. But when something bad happens,
true character is revealed, man.
True character is revealed. And also you sort of got to think twice about how you're going to approach it because everyone's sort of always going to go for their natural instinct, which in this situation was call the police.
Yeah.
My situation was I like to take a step back.
Yeah.
Try and put myself in their shoes. Understand why they may have done it. Now that that's all out in the open.
Yeah. And can I just say that I think personally that move there that you made definitely had some sort of praise or some sort of credit from your football days because you always used to be the guy that takes the winning kick, the winning goal, the match-winning field goal, or the playmaker. You always used to be the MJ of your team, Michael Jordan, the go-to guy because you were so great under pressure. I remember specifically that comeback from Harold Matthews remember Charlie Banana used to play with you as well. And, all the Parramatta Harold Matthews, you were down, I think, what was the score, like 28-6 with something like 18 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And you guys came back and you beat Newcastle, wasn't it, in the semi-final?
Yeah, down at Penrith. That was an awesome game, man.
Was that Newcastle or was it Penrith?
No, it was Newcastle at Penrith. Yeah. I still remember some of those boys in the other team sort of laughing 28-6.
Yeah, man. And I remember that, man. We were like down and out. All the crowd. We were like, oh man, he's got nothing. And that was a miraculous comeback. But that, amongst many of your performances, in rugby league, I think definitely has some credit moving into business situations and crisis situations.
Yeah, look, football did teach me a lot. The most notable thing being how to work within a team. I think you can apply that rule to business 100% is, learning how to get the best out of your teammates. And then in turn, when you transition into business, learning how to get the best out of your colleagues and employees. So I just found, and look, not the same thing doesn't work for everyone. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is that, some people's motivation can come from a certain thing, but, another individual will come from a different aspect. Like some people might like tough criticism. Some people might like constructive criticism. Some people might hate criticism and just like praise. Some people might hate praise and just want to be criticized. Like you really have to identify each individual for what it is. And the thing
for who they are.
That's why I needed my teammates to show up just as ready as I was. And not only that, I needed them to have a positive mindset, whether we were in the lead, whether we were behind on the scoreboard. Like I needed us all to be on the same page, which was positive energy, positive mind. We're going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. So I'd learned a lot during my football days because I would see how teammates would react to criticism. And then I would see criticism. Yeah. And then I would, like, you know, someone drops a ball and straight away you give them a spray, or you say, you know, you lose your marbles, whatever. Like you do that, and then you see how they react to it. They put their head down, and then the guy comes up, and the guy comes up with a belter of a tackle next set, absolutely kills the guy, drops the ball, and then gets the praise. Like he needed that criticism. He needed someone to say, "Come on, bro, pick it up."
Like a hard, tough love. Like some players needed tough love, but some
of them respond to it better. It's the way
respond to it. Yeah,
it's the way that people respond to things is really what determines a lot about their true character.
But not everyone needs tough love, right? Like there's some people
absolutely, and that's essentially what I'm explaining. It's like they would react to tough love, and then another teammate, you would sort of do the same thing, but he'd just go missing for the rest of the game. And it's like, well, obviously he didn't respond to that. You try something different next time. You maybe pat his head or say, "Don't worry, bro, keep your head up," whatever it is. And then next set, he's going out the gates, you know, trying to kill someone. Like because he responded better to sort of comfort and praise. And like every human sort of responds differently to certain situations. No two humans will respond.
Man. Like, look at Michael Jordan. If you watch the documentary Michael Jordan, The Last Dance on Netflix.
Dude, that guy was on another planet, man.
His mentality, his discipline, and his motivation came from people saying, "You can't do it, bro," and really getting under his skin.
Yeah.
He just came out. Yeah, he took it so personally, and you know, and he's one of the greatest athletes to ever live and perform on that stage.
Yeah. What a documentary, man! I love watching every minute of that. I had so many similarities to him as an athlete when I was watching that documentary, which I'm sure a lot of athletes would. But me personally, just with his story, sort of breaking into the league and some of those things that he was exposed to, and he comes to a moment where he says in his documentary how he was invited into the room when he was a rookie and he saw a lot of things going on that weren't exactly all that type of stuff. And then, you know, he sort of said, "Look, this isn't for me, whatever it is, the drinking at the time, the partying, the drugs, whatever it was," left. And he goes, "From that moment on, I knew I was on my own." And I was like, I felt like I was on my own the whole time in my career. Like I knew I had a team supporting me, but I always knew in the back of my mind, I was the only person that I could rely on at the end of the day. And I think that's what was really tricky about being in a team sport as well, was like, you know, you could prepare as best as you could, know that you've done all the right things leading up to the game, show up on game day. And one of the boys is just, you know, like just
not feeling it.
He's not in the moment. Like he's not in the zone. He's on his mind, or his body's not right, whatever it is. And like you're in a team sport, so you're only as good as your weakest player.
Yeah. And you were really good at identifying that. I always noticed that if anyone was down, you'd always be one of the first ones to go up and pat them on the head or give them a big hug or try and encourage them. And like you said,
weakest link. Yeah. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So I couldn't have any weak links in the team. Same as my business at the moment. I can't have any weak links in the staff. I can't have any weak links from suppliers. You know what I mean? Like it's a really broad range of.
Business is tough, man. Business is tough. Customers are right at the end of the day, but customers are expectant. Like, you know, I think often we fail as customers walking into a shop. Sometimes we don't understand what goes through. Those of you who have run cafes understand it's a grueling process. Sometimes there's ordering to be done. There's menu work to be done. There's staff problems. There's this, there's that. But essentially, like we have an expectation when we walk in that if we pay for something because it's of value, we expect a result. You know, so it's a tough thing, man. But I really want to.
Does not care what's going on behind the bar, and I always teach this to my staff. I said we might have that many issues going on at the back of house. That at the end of the day, it's not the customer's responsibility. And to the average customer that walks in and hasn't been exposed to hospitality or hasn't been exposed to much business etiquette in general, they can't walk in and analyze the business for what it is.
I'm drinking kombucha. It's a ginger one. And anyone out there who's drinking kombucha, the ginger flavor, as soon as you take a whiff, the ginger hits the back of your throat, so it causes you to cough. I was like, on the screen, I was like,
what a plug for kombucha. Surely they're paying you something to give them a shout out.
Sorry to cut you off, brother. Lisa's just asked as well, do you have the same, and I was thinking this as well, thanks Lisa for bringing this up. Do you have the same mentality in business? Do you rely on yourself? And do you apply that to yourself? I think that's what Lisa's asking in real life, in actual life as well. Like, should you rely on yourself and no one else? I personally agree, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on, should you rely on yourself for everything in life as you do in business as well?
I think the word rely there is very important. Specifically, she's asked, do you rely on yourself? I said, yeah, 100%, because we can only rely on ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But look, I think as an amateur in business a couple of years ago, 100%, I thought I was the only way. I thought that success was only going to come through me. I didn't want to collaborate with anyone. I didn't want to listen to anyone's ideas. I said, I'm looking forward in that direction, and I don't want to listen to anyone else's advice because I don't think that anyone's really going to help me. That was me in my first year. So we're talking 4 years ago when I first ventured out.
I remember it, man. I remember when we were constructing the cafe.
Yeah, and you could probably remember how stubborn I was and just said, I want that there. Like,
everyone knew.
Reason, I don't want to listen to your input. I want it there because I want it there. Because I've thought it out 1,000 times. You know me. I would have thought about it 100 times before I decided to put it there.
Yeah, man. Everyone that knows you personally knows if you've thought about something, or you come in your territory, like a lion's territory, lion's den, get the fuck away. Watch the fuck out. He's got this covered. Don't even question the lion. He will roar at you if you try to question his pack or you enter his kingdom.
And look, absolutely. And look, I've got, our younger brother, Joshy, he's, I'm sort of playing like a mentoring role with him as well. He works for me at the shop, and he's sort of in like that managerial position. So he's, I'm trying to set the example for him as well. And he challenges me a lot. He's got good confidence, but I'm all for criticism, and I'm all for questioning what we're doing because I want to go in a certain direction. Now, when I say we're doing that, when I say we're going that way, it's not because I just decided to do it. It's because I've researched almost everything that there is in relation to that topic. And then I've identified what problems we're going to cause along the way. I've identified all the pros, all the cons. Yeah. I've done all that in my mind and on paper for at least an hour or two before I make a firm decision in business. Because when you make one decision in our business, it affects hundreds of people on a daily basis, right? So I can't just do something because I feel like it. I've got to analyze whether this is going to work, and I've got to back it up with a bit of valid information. So Joshua knows now not to question me because I'm not coming from a place of, I just feel like doing that. I'm coming from a place of, I'm telling you the idea now, but I've already researched it for the last 2 hours, and I've already come up with all this.
So you're setting a high standard. So if someone wants to challenge you, please bring forward the
absolutely. I'm all for challenging, but if you're going to challenge me, make sure you're 100% right. Don't come to me with something that you're just questioning for the sake of questioning. If you're going to challenge me in business, make sure you're right. And look, there's been a few times where I'm happy to take my hat off and say, you know what, your idea was better. Congratulations. I thought mine through 1,000 times over, and you know what, you just presented me with a good one. But your idea would have come from at least an hour or two's worth of research. It wouldn't have come with that common sense straight off the bat. You know what I mean? So
I do. Yeah,
that's something that I've taught Joshua, and look, he's applying it very well. If I say something, he's very responsive. I rely on him. Going back to Lisa's question, I don't just rely on myself. I rely on the staff. I rely on my suppliers. I rely on my customers. So and other businesses as well. I rely on them. Bring sort of traffic into the area. So we're not just AJ's Cafe. We're not just a sole business. We're in a sort of a communal hub. We're sort of in the center of Greystanes, and we do rely on other people coming to the area. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
so
man.
To answer your question, 4 years ago, I was relying on myself heavily.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 years, I'm still relying on myself heavily, but I'm definitely relying on my team to perform and the business in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So Siossi asked a really good question. He also said Jason is a good maestro conductor. I don't know if he's taking the piss or he's been legit.
Nah, me and Josh, we have some good conversations, man. He's a very smart boy, man.
Yeah, he is actually. I've watched a couple of his videos lately. He's very intelligent. Very open-minded. Open-mindedness, which is something, there's a movement going along with the young crew, open-mindedness, and finally you guys are starting to say that I'm not cray-cray by being myself. I think maybe. But look, he said, what's your thoughts on staff coming to you for forgiveness rather than permission? That's a good question. Very good question. So what's your thoughts on staff coming to you for forgiveness rather than for permission?
I like to give my staff sort of all equal responsibility. So if I'm correct in what Josh is asking me, if there was a scenario, you know, it would be them probably making a decision and maybe it be the wrong decision. So then
Yeah.
they would come to me and ask me for my forgiveness rather than calling me and saying, hey, Jace, can I do that? And then them do it. So look, I'm all for them doing both. I'm all for them asking me for permission first because it shows that, you know, they value my decision as a boss. But secondly, man, in business, if I was going to rely on just myself to steer the ship, I wouldn't get very far. You know, I need a good crew to back me up, and we've got that at the moment. You know, everyone's on the same page. So, you know, to answer his question, what's my thoughts on them asking for forgiveness? Man, I'm all for it. We all make mistakes, but they cannot be financial mistakes. You know what I mean? When it comes to the financial side of the business, they do not make decisions unless we have, you know, collectively spoken about it and, you know, have to get new products. I have to source new things.
Yeah. So something just clicked to me, man. And I really value that. It's completely irrelevant, but it can tie into this. With your decision making in general, do you remember you telling me when you were in camp a long time ago? I can't remember which camp it was, but they played this fucking Russian sound in your camp. I think it was Parramatta Eels pre-season
it would have been
training.
the army camp, yeah.
The army camp, yes.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that specific exercise? And I just wanted to tell the fans out there, like, what you went through and if that benefited you. And because your decision making seems so like concrete and you're so mature and decisive, which is an amazing trait, a fantastic trait for any business owner. So I just want to know if that's sort of, I don't know, like that. I think that was more around pressure. That exercise.
Look, it definitely played a role.
Walk us through that a little bit?
Man, I wish I could remember that event a bit more in detail. I'm sure I've shared it with you, so you probably remember.
You have. Well,
those 3 days were torture. I wanted to forget those as quickly as possible. Because, man, I think I lost 4 kilos in 3 days.
Yeah.
Like just the torture that they put us through. But look, that camp, man, you come out of that just a different person. Like you have the mindset, like, dude, I can achieve anything. I've just crawled through fucking, excuse my language, 100 meters of mud, you know, and carrying 20 kilos on my back, 40 kilos, and then up and like, man, you come out there with a different mindset. So did it play a role? Absolutely. But was that I'd say it was sort of one of the contributing factors to why my mentality is the way it is.
So the specific exercise that you told me was you were outside. Everyone was outside, and I think you had to either stand up or go on your knees or sit down, and you had to listen. In the back of your head, they were blasting this music, this Russian anthem or something.
Yeah. So what it was that I think. Okay, this is what happened. So we've done a 6 a.m. session all the way through to sort of 12 p.m. at night, or 12 a.m. Sorry. So then we've rolled over into 1 o'clock. We've done another 2 sessions, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, like we're out running sprints and that.
Physical sessions.
Yeah, exhausted. So we've been up at that time for 22 hours, right? From 6 a.m. right through to 4 a.m. the next day. Yep. Now, at 4 a.m., they got us into this big sort of center, and then they had brown rice and white rice mixed together in a big barrel.
Oh, yeah, now I remember.
Like 1,000-liter drum. I can't remember how big this thing was, but huge. They dumped the rice on the floor, and they said to us, you got to separate every grain of rice, brown and white, and we're not allowed to leave apparently until it was finished. And they split us up into teams. And like I'm there on the floor, like I'm separating brown, white.
And you're exhausted. Physically
exhausted. Imagine your toughest training session that you've ever done, right?
Or for parents out there,
you can't walk, right?
Or for parents out there, imagine.
Put 4 of those back to back.
Wow.
And then that's we're in that room, and then like they're playing that Russian music blast, like you can't fall asleep. Like there's no chance you were going to doze off because the music was just too loud.
So that trained you to focus in your most exhausted state, right? And keeping focused on the goal, just a simple task.
Yeah, 100%.
And minimizing distraction. When I heard you say that, I was like, holy crap. Like that's training to another level.
Yeah. Look, those guys.
Mental training. So I'm sure people that appreciate these stories that can contribute, they have contributed to your persona, your mentality, to business specifically as well. I can see definitely a correlation, like mental training and physical training. You've endured it, so you've gained that confidence, that discipline, and that mental toughness to succeed in the business environment. But you still carry with you an authentic heart, a genuine, authentic heart that cares.
Yeah.
That's a great combination, an amazing combination.
My morals run deep. You know, I've had the same sort of mentality as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I was pretty humble, pretty generous growing up, and I always said to myself that I would never change no matter what. You know, no matter what sort of success that I endure in my life. So I think I just put it down to that, man. Like a lot of people change when they see a bit of financial success or any sort of success, when they start to get around more people. Their circle grows, if that makes sense. But everyone that sort of knows me, and for those of you that don't know me, it's for a reason, because you know, I've sort of stayed within my circle, and if anything, decreased the size of my circle over the years. And that's why at one point in my life, I was in the public eye a lot with football, you know, sort of at a mild level. I never sort of made it professionally, but when I did,
playing in the World Cup is professional, man. And
absolutely, you know,
you captain the Toyota Cup squad for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And you were always in representative football. And I remember when you were 16, you should have made the Australian schoolboys, but that was a political agenda that, you know, was really frustrating. But you played the best out of everyone that tournament. You should have got the number 6 jersey. But, you know, politics is one thing.
I think that's a bit biased, man. It's a bit biased, but look,
no, man, it wasn't.
I'll take the credit. That's fine.
You know, everyone else at that day would agree too that the person that got the 6 jersey had parental influence and connections.
Look, there's definitely a lot of politics involved. You know, any sort of level of sport.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, look, I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. I believe that, you know, that wasn't my path for whatever reason. You know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot through football and in my sporting career. And man, I'd like to think that I'm sort of benefiting from the lessons that I learned then now.
Yeah, man. So just conscious of time, it's 7:43, bro. I know Parramatta's playing it in about 7 minutes. Rugby league's back on.
You know what? If you had told me that, sort of 24 months ago, I would have said to you, dude, let's wrap it up. You know, my priorities are with football, with sport.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I still love the NRL. I still love watching rugby league. I still love sport in general. But my main focus in the last sort of 2 to 3 years, 4 years being when I started, but I really found my love for business after the first year, you know, after we started making a little bit of a profit.
And you really are passionate about it. I know you were talking to me about, you know, some other things. You were giving advice to a mate that wanted to open up a shop, and you were telling him, man, you've got to analyze certain things. Like, if you've got an empty shell, why would you put the counter here? Is it quicker for you to put this here and put this here? Like, analyze every movement in business, every transaction. Like, you're looking at it from a sports view and a business view, and an efficient and an efficient way. And I was like, wow, man,
gotta be efficient.
That's next level shit. That's like really focusing on as efficient as possible and trying to improve the business in every way, not only with customer service, not only with the great tasting food, but time management. Like a simple thing like putting I can't remember what you were saying. I think it was the toaster. Why would you put the toaster behind you? If you're going to put the toaster behind you, why would you put it there when you could put it here?
Yeah, look, that extra step or that extra 2 steps, especially when you have a shell, when you have a canvas, if you can create a bulletproof business model, why not? You know what I mean?
Adam asked a really good question, man. Thanks for asking this, Adam. What motivates you? What frame of mind are you in on a daily basis to push you through on being a successful businessman?
Geez, man, that motivation runs deep. That's sort of instilled in me from a
I think it was a deep question. That's a good question.
It's a competitive nature, man. Simple as that. I'm very competitive. I like to be the best at everything that I do.
Yeah.
I apply myself to, if it's a simple task, man, if it's playing marbles against someone, but it gets pretty competitive, dude, I want to win. Simple as that. And I think it stems from being in a position of power and making the right decisions when I've been in those positions, and then seeing others in those positions and making wrong decisions. I'm like, dude, I wish I was at that level. I wish I was on that stage, because I feel like I'd be a lot more generous, and I feel like I'd be a lot more
giving, a lot more opportunity,
giving and mature in the situation. Like I've just seen people in positions where they're like, you know, and that's why I think I've got that competitive nature. I want to be the best, because I know when I get there at whatever it is, I know that I'll be able to handle it the right way. You know what I mean? And I love teaching.
And I feel you, because I have the same mentality, man. Like I feel like we're more trustworthy in those positions than the people that are currently in those positions, i.e. CEOs of some major companies that treat their staff or treat their culture like shit. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great CEOs out there. Mark Boris, for one, man.
Yeah.
Mark Boris, if you watch his stuff on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, I think it is, he's
Yeah.
amazing, man. He just cuts to the chase. He said this one thing that ties into what you said before. Is like, if you're going to challenge me, you better know it's coming from a place of hours of thinking, or it better
Man,
be.
it's
He
really
said the
funny,
same thing.
dude.
He said the same thing in regards to that. He goes, if anyone in my round table questions me, or sorry, if they regurgitate what I'm saying, they're out. If they don't bring something different than what I've
Yeah,
said,
they're
if
sheep. If they're
they
just
parrot,
sheep, no, they're
yeah,
not gonna. Yeah.
parroting. If they don't bring something different, and it forces it's like almost you push the person, those people like Mark Boris and yourself, and I put you in that category because I do see you as a shining light in the very, very near future of that level. If you see these type of people, they push you out of your comfort zone, and they're not necessarily caring about if you like them or not. It's for a result.
Yeah.
It's for a
They've always got an agenda. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, man. It's funny because you bring up stuff like, Mark Boris, and when I hear stories about, Tony Robbins, Gary V, influencers that, 90% of the society knows of,
Business society, I would say,
society, and just
or
society in
management.
general. Like when I hear about some of the things, and some of the mentalities that these guys have, like I'll be completely honest with you. I don't listen to podcasts that much. I don't listen to like influencers and that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people tell me a lot of my content and a lot of my expressions and words and descriptions or whatever, a lot of my teachings, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
sort of correlate with a lot of the stuff that they teach. And I haven't even watched these guys, so I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to know that guys at that level,
Yeah, man.
I've developed the same mentality at a younger age, and I'm just like, I take it very personal, man. I enjoy the fact that people like listening to what I have to say most of the time.
Yeah, because you've got a lot to offer the community. As people seeing you, like your attitude and what you said on the current affair, not many business owners would have that attitude, especially in COVID situation where you guys have suffered already as a cafe. Like you're already restricted to how many people you can have in your cafe. You're already restricted to how much people are spending because everyone's, a bit concerned and everyone's pay's been cut. A lot of people's pay's been cut. Like it's like I said it on social media too. I said, what happened to you guys was like being on your deathbed and someone punching you on the fucking stomach.
Yeah.
You know,
like
but
kicking
you,
down, that's
it was
right.
like kicking you when you're down, but you had the poise and the strength and courage to say, man, if you would have come in, we would have given you food. We just want to catch this guy and say, hey, can we solve this? Don't do it again. Don't hurt someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you took it in your own hands. It's fucking admirable, man. I hope people see that.
I appreciate that. I think touching back on what I said earlier is just in every situation I like to, whether I'm dealing with a customer or whether I'm dealing with a family member that has a personal issue, whether I'm dealing with just any sort of problem that arises, I like putting myself in that person's shoes, and I sort of like, I'll give them advice based on what I would do. In order to do that, I need to put myself in their scenario and really get connected with the environment and the emotional decision, the emotions that they're going through, so that I can make a rational response. And I sort of said to myself, look, the guy's obviously, he might have been on drugs at the time. He might have been going through something with his partner, with his family. For whatever reason, he feels the need that he needs to steal some things, right? Yeah. So he's obviously doing it tough as it is, not taking into consideration that everyone's doing it tough. It's sort of like he's fending for himself. So that in a nutshell led me to believe and make the assumption that he is, I'd like to say he's not mentally stable. Yeah. So in order for me to now put the pressure back on him and kick him while he's down and say, listen here, you grub, whatever, come and give it back. Like I'm just literally, he's kicking, I'm kicking. And it's like, we're not going to achieve any sort of result here. But if I can put myself in his shoes, sort of understand why he did it, I can now reach out to the community and say, hey guys, let's find these guys so that we can stop these events happening. Not let's call the police so we can get these guys in jail, because there's no real lesson to be learned there. Yes, you go to jail, there's consequences, 100%, I'm all for that. But I think I wanted to just deliver a bigger message, which was if anyone is in this position or anyone is in a position of power or remorse or regret or retaliation, think twice before you make an irrational decision. And I think, having made the decisions that I did, the business sort of, it did gain a lot of exposure and the right things happened. And I feel like I'm making the right decision. Only for the business.
As we said earlier, man, it was a great publicity move because you're in the Bahamas. Look at you.
Man.
Look at me now.
Look, Channel 9, when they got out the checkbook and they said, look, we want to do the exclusive, I just said, look, Channel 7, man, they've been offering, they've been throwing some big bucks on me.
Channel
So,
7,
it is what it is.
Channel
I
7
want to
been
spend the
offering
weekend with
rules.
my
What are
arms.
you guys gonna offer? Yeah. That's mad, man. That's mad. That's cool, bro. I love that you said, when you put yourself in someone else's shoes, that skill there is called empathy. Empathize, with someone else. And that's not easy to do. You see so many people judge on social media, right? I put a post up today. Go on my Instagram, Joey Wehbe 88, and see the video I chucked up on there. Or on my Facebook page, my personal page. It's a fucking phenomenal video to entice you to stop judging, because you will never know someone's pure situation. You will never know them, right? And just remember that no one ever intends to do bad. It's just they do the best with what they know. That's my personal philosophy.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you a question, bro, because there's been a lot of questions from the community. So would you be open to business advice for young entrepreneurs in the community?
100 million%. Yes.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So for those of you out there that would love to get some more knowledge with Jace, or ask him, how do you reckon, how do you want to do this? I mean, I'm happy to support you in any way possible, man. Do you want them to reach out to you personally, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, my social media is out there for anyone that wants to send me a message or anyone that needs help.
Yep.
I touched on this earlier. I think the reason why I want to sort of be in a position of power, right, is because I feel like the ones that have led the way in front of us haven't really utilized that as best as possible. They don't really teach as best as they can.
Yes.
So, yeah, look, 100%. I'd like, if anyone, needs any advice on anything business related, I feel like I'm in a position where our business is, it's thriving. It is quite successful. And I feel like there's a lot of principles. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just an idea and then execution. There's so many steps in between. And look, man, if I can help anyone in any way, achieve, some sort of financial success or even mental success, whatever it may be, like, I'm more than happy to help.
You're a legend, man.
You just got to go through my personal assistant, Joshua. He'll tell you the hourly rates.
Do you want to leave a plug? Do you want to leave a social media plug?
Like a USB or like a
So, so I love your quirk, man. So do you want him to reach out to you on Instagram or Facebook? Or...
Look, however, man, like I said, my circle is really small, and I believe that, anyone that finds or makes their way to me is meant to happen. So let it happen naturally. If they bump into me on the street, or if they want to talk, or if they bump into me at the shop, whatever reason, or they want to reach out via social media or through your channel, then, like I said, man, I'm more than happy to help.
This is awesome, man. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, brother. Is there any last tips on COVID or anything you want to say to people before we jet?
Yeah, definitely just stay positive. And I think I just want to touch on, you mentioned it earlier as well, but sort of the way you were feeling towards me, dude. I'm very proud of what you're doing, and I think that the podcast that you got happening, man. I was very excited to jump on. I love what you're doing, dude. You speak very well. I think that this is something that you're very natural at as well, and I'm more than happy to support your journey, whatever that may be in this. And yeah, dude, like I said, I really enjoyed this, and I hope that I can see you interviewing some more successful people in the near future. And if there's anyone that can contribute to that as well, dude, I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you, brother. Well, definitely there's a way that you can come back on the show anytime this year. There's open spots. We've booked out the next 3 weeks. Woohoo!
Awesome.
But definitely, man, anytime you want, I'm happy to interview you always, because you have so much to give this community. And I'm really appreciative of your contribution to this and encouraging me, man. Thank you, brother. And if there's anyone that you see fit authentically, because like I don't get randoms on here. I don't just say, yeah, you will be good here. I get people that I believe and I trust will give authentic advice that are actually great people in society, Yeah. So if you see anyone like that, or for those of you who are watching, please send them across. Please like this page, share it with someone. This chat was amazing. It'll be up on podcast platforms like Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, etc. I'll put all the details, and I might even tag you in this video so that people can find you on Facebook, if that's all right.
Yep, that's cool, man.
and we'll wrap it up there, bro. So I'm very happy. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Peace.
One last photo. Yeah. Perfect.
What a
Perfect
jersey,
photo.
man. All right, bro.
Perfect photo.
Let's
All
go.
right, man.
Wrap
God
it up.
bless, man. God bless.
See you, man.
Thanks, brother. See ya.
Bye, bye.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Those of you who were watching, we had some camera issues. My camera battery died, so I'm back on the webcam. But thank you so much for coming, guys. Any questions you have, shoot them across. I'll try and pass them to Jace. Any questions you want to have Jace, you want to question Jace immediately, jump on his social media, add him. It's been a fantastic chat. I know that. I hope you get some valuable tips out of this. Please stay tuned for next week. We have Sarah Bonanno, the owner of Velvet Wellness and Beauty, coming on. Wow, such a beautiful soul. And reach out whenever you want, guys. Reach out for any vouchers of life chats with Joey. Cheers. Have a beautiful week.